I always believed family came first. Growing up in a home where my father walked out, I swore I would never let my loved ones down. Sophia and I built what I thought was an unbreakable bond during our 5 years of marriage. My younger brother, Diego, was like a son to me, someone I had practically raised. That Memorial Day barbecue in our backyard seemed perfect. Laughter, cold beers, and plans for the future. I had no idea that beneath those smiles lay secrets that would shatter everything I believed about family loyalty. Hey everyone! Where are you watching from today? If you have ever been blindsided by someone you trusted, completely hit that subscribe button and join our community. This story might be hard to hear, but I promise the journey taught me something about strength that changed my life forever. The smell of sawdust always reminded me of my father. Before he abandoned us when I was 14, he would take me to construction sites where he worked. Those memories shaped my future, leading me to become a construction supervisor at Henderson Builders. Long hours, supervising crews and managing timelines had become my normal routine, often working 12 hours daily to secure the promotion that would finally allow Sophia and me to buy our dream house in Oakwood Heights. Sophia and I met during our junior year at State University. She was studying graphic design while I was pursuing construction management. Her creative spirit and warm smile captivated me from our first meeting at a mutual friend's birthday party. After graduation, we dated for 2 years before I proposed on a hiking trip to Redwood National Park. The wedding was small but perfect, just close family and friends at my mother Elaine's backyard. We danced under string lights until midnight, full of dreams about our future together. Those early years of marriage were everything I had hoped for. Sophia started a small design business from our apartment while I climbed the ranks at Henderson Builders. We saved diligently, postponed starting a family until we were financially stable, and spent weekends exploring hiking trails or renovating our modest rental house. Physical affection came naturally, and we rarely argued beyond minor disagreements about household chores or vacation plans. My relationship with Diego had always been more father-son than brotherly. 12 years younger than me, he was just 6 when our father left. I taught him how to throw a baseball, helped with his homework, and later coached him through his first heartbreak. While I was the responsible one who worked steadily, Diego was charismatic and spontaneous. He bounced between jobs: bartender, sales representative, personal trainer, never settling long in any career. Despite his flaws, I admired his ability to light up any room. Our mother Elaine dedicated her life to keeping our family together after our father left. A kindergarten teacher who worked extra tutoring jobs to make ends meet, she instilled in me the importance of loyalty and sacrifice. With Diego, however, she was always more lenient, making excuses for his mistakes and bailing him out financially. "He just needs more time to find himself," she would tell me whenever I expressed concern about his lack of direction. The first signs that something was wrong appeared gradually. 6 months before everything fell apart, Sophia began changing her routine. She started taking more care with her appearance before Diego would visit. Their inside jokes and shared music tastes seemed innocent enough initially. I noticed her checking her phone more frequently, smiling at messages she would quickly hide when I entered the room. When questioned, she dismissed my concerns. Just client feedback on design proposals. Work consumed most of my attention during this period. Henderson Builders was bidding on a major downtown development project, and as senior supervisor, I needed to prepare detailed cost estimates and construction timelines. The promotion to project manager was finally within reach. $60,000 more annually that would make our dream home possible. Many nights I returned home after Sophia was already asleep, leaving before she woke the next morning. When Diego lost his apartment after being laid off from his sales job, offering our spare bedroom seemed the natural thing to do. "Just until you get back on your feet," I told him, patting his shoulder supportively. He expressed profound gratitude, promising to help around the house and look for work immediately. Sophia seemed unusually enthusiastic about the arrangement, suggesting we could have weekly family dinners and movie nights like a real family should. Looking back, I should have noticed how Sophia and Diego would fall silent when I entered a room, or how Diego would find excuses to stay home when I invited him to join me for weekend errands. Once I returned early from a hardware store run, to find them sitting unusually close on the couch, a guilty expression flashing across their faces before Sophia announced she needed to shower before dinner. My construction company landed the downtown project, which meant a 2-week training session in Chicago with the architects and engineers. Sophia seemed almost relieved when I told her about the trip, immediately suggesting she and Diego could use the time to organize a surprise for my birthday the following month. Their enthusiasm should have raised flags, but I trusted them both completely. Before leaving for the airport, I hugged Diego and asked him to take care of things while I was gone. The irony of those words would haunt me later. The decision to return home 3 days early was spontaneous. The final training sessions were canceled when the lead architect fell ill, and I thought surprising Sophia would rekindle the connection that had been fading between us. I picked up her favorite wine and Thai food, imagining her delighted expression when I walked through the door unexpectedly. The house was strangely quiet when I arrived home that Thursday evening. I called out but received no answer. Upstairs I heard the shower running. Smiling to myself, I placed the food on the kitchen counter and headed to our bedroom to unpack before surprising her. That was when I saw them, a pair of men's boxer briefs that definitely were not mine peeking out from under our bed. Next to them lay a distinctive silver watch I had given Diego for his 21st birthday. The bathroom door opened while I stood frozen holding these items in my trembling hands. Sophia emerged, wrapped in a towel, her expression transforming from relaxed to horrified in an instant. "You are supposed to be in Chicago," she stammered, clutching the towel tighter around her body. Water dripped from her hair onto the carpet as we stared at each other in terrible silence. "What is this?" I asked, holding up the underwear and watch. Though I already knew the answer, some part of me desperately hoped for an innocent explanation. "Tell me this is not what it looks like." My voice sounded strange to my own ears, hollow and distant. "Guillermo, I can explain." She began, tears already forming in her eyes. But her attempts at denial crumbled quickly under my unwavering stare. Finally, after minutes that felt like hours, she collapsed onto the edge of our bed. "It just happened," she whispered, not meeting my eyes. "We never meant to hurt you." The rage that surged through me was unlike anything I had ever experienced. I hurled the watch against the wall, the glass face shattering like my trust. "How long?" I demanded, hands clenched into fists, so tight my nails cut into my palms. "How long has this been going on behind my back?" Her answer destroyed whatever remained of my world. 6 months, she admitted, still not looking at me. "Since your company Christmas party, when you were busy networking with the executives all night." Each word felt like a physical blow. 6 months of deception while I worked overtime for our future. 6 months of lies while I slept beside her, trusting and unsuspecting. The front door opened downstairs. Diego returning home. I stormed down the stairs, grief transforming into white-hot fury. He stood in the entryway, grocery bags in hand, his expression shifting from confusion to fear when he saw my face. "Bro, what are you doing home?" he asked, setting down the bags slowly as if sensing danger. Words failed me. Instead, I launched myself at him, my fist connecting with his jaw before he could react. We crashed into the wall, picture frames shattering around us as we grappled. "My own brother," I shouted between punches. In my bed with my wife, Diego offered little resistance, accepting each blow as if he believed he deserved them. Our mother, Elaine, arrived during the fight, using her spare key after receiving a panicked call from Sophia. She pulled me off Diego with surprising strength, positioning herself between us like a human shield. "Stop this right now," she commanded, her teacher voice cutting through my rage. "Violence solves nothing, Guillermo." What happened next revealed the true depth of the betrayal. As Diego nursed his bloodied lip, my mother turned not to comfort me, but him. "Are you all right?" she asked softly, checking his injuries with gentle hands. The tenderness in her voice when addressing the man who had betrayed me was unbearable. "You knew," I realized, watching her familiar movements. "You knew about this." The accusation hung in the air, met not with denial but uncomfortable silence. My own mother had been complicit in this deception. Sophia appeared at the bottom of the stairs, now dressed but still looking disheveled. "There is something else you need to know," she said, her voice trembling. "I am pregnant. 3 months along," she explained, "and the baby was definitely Diego's. They had confirmed with blood tests after she missed her period tests, arranged discreetly by my mother." The room tilted around me as this final revelation landed. "You helped them hide this?" I asked my mother, disbelief rendering my voice barely audible. "Your own son was being betrayed, and you helped them cover it up." My mother's justification cut deeper than any previous wound. "Diego has had so little happiness in his life," she explained, still standing closer to him than me. "After everything he went through when your father left, he deserves some joy. And Sophia, she is young. She made a mistake. I was trying to figure out how to tell you gently. Tell me gently that my brother impregnated my wife while living under my roof." The absurdity of her statement would have been laughable if it had not been so devastating. While I worked overtime to build us a future, the 3 people I trusted most in the world exchanged glances before my mother spoke again. "What is done cannot be undone, Guillermo. We need to think of the baby now, your niece or nephew. For the sake of family unity, you need to find a way to accept this situation." Their expectation that I would simply forgive this betrayal and continue as if nothing had happened was the final straw. I packed essential belongings while they watched silently from the doorway. Before leaving, I placed my house key and wedding ring on the kitchen counter. "Family unity," I echoed hollowly. "Apparently that only matters when it is convenient for all of you." The following weeks became a blur of pain and isolation. I moved into a small 1-bedroom apartment near the construction site, throwing myself into work to avoid thinking about what had happened. Sophia filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, a clinical term for having an affair with my brother. More shocking was her demand for financial support during the pregnancy, claiming entitlement to my income until the divorce was finalized. Extended family members who had once treated me like a hero for raising Diego now avoided my calls, or worse, suggested I was being unreasonable. "Family is everything," my Aunt Maria told me during an uncomfortable phone call. "This child will be your blood relation. You need to think about what is best for the baby." No one seemed concerned about what was best for me or the betrayal I had suffered. My mental health deteriorated rapidly. Sleepless nights became the norm, with work performance suffering despite my best efforts to compartmentalize. Intrusive thoughts of them together haunted me. In our bed, laughing about my obliviousness, planning their future while I remained in the dark. A construction accident where I narrowly avoided serious injury finally convinced me to seek professional help. The family law attorney I consulted, Margaret Winters, listened to my story without judgment before offering practical advice. "Unfortunately, in this state, you may be presumed the legal father since conception occurred during the marriage," she explained. "We will need DNA evidence and specific court filings to establish paternity belongs to your brother." Her matter-of-fact approach helped me view my situation with slightly more clarity, though the road ahead remained daunting. 6 months passed with minimal contact from my former family. The divorce proceedings moved slowly through the legal system, complicated by the pregnancy and property division. I focused on rebuilding my life one day at a time, throwing myself into work projects, maintaining my small apartment with meticulous care, and beginning weekly therapy sessions with Dr. Allen, who specialized in trauma and betrayal. The promotion I had worked toward finally came through, along with a substantial salary increase. The bitter irony was not lost on me. The financial stability I had sought for Sophia and our future children would now benefit only myself. Still, the achievement provided a foundation for my new life. I established new routines, joined a weekend hiking group where I made acquaintances who knew nothing of my past, and slowly, tentatively began to heal. Dr. Allen helped me understand the complex trauma I had experienced. Not just infidelity, but familial betrayal on multiple fronts. What you are describing is not simply a marital issue, but a complete collapse of your support system, he explained during one session. Your core beliefs about loyalty and family have been fundamentally challenged. His validation of my feelings as appropriate, rather than excessive, provided immense relief after months of being told to get over it for the sake of others. The unexpected text message from my mother came on a Tuesday morning as I supervised concrete pouring at the development site. "We need to talk as a family. Please come to my house Sunday at 2 p.m. It is important." No explanation, no acknowledgement of the pain she had contributed to, just an expectation that I would appear when summoned. Against my therapist's advice to maintain boundaries, curiosity led me to agree. Perhaps I thought naively this would be the apology I had been waiting for. The gathering at my childhood home felt surreal. My mother had prepared my favorite meal, pot roast with rosemary potatoes, as if food could somehow bridge the chasm between us. Sophia sat uncomfortably on the sofa, her pregnancy now impossible to hide, while Diego paced nervously near the window. None of them would meet my eyes directly as I took a seat in the armchair furthest from them all. "Thank you for coming, Guillermo," my mother began after an awkward silence. "We have something important to discuss regarding the baby." She glanced at Diego, who suddenly became intensely interested in his shoes. "Your brother has realized he is not prepared for the responsibilities of fatherhood at this stage of his life." Sophia continued, where my mother left off, one hand resting protectively on her swollen belly. "We have been discussing what would be best for the child, and we all agree that stability is crucial during the early years." Her rehearsed tone made it clear this conversation had been planned extensively before my arrival. What followed was perhaps the most outrageous proposal I could have imagined. They wanted me, the betrayed husband, to raise the child resulting from their affair. Diego was not emotionally mature enough for parenthood. Sophia had received an opportunity to join an international design firm requiring extensive travel. They believed I, with my stable job and responsible nature, would provide the best environment for their child. "You always wanted to be a father," my mother reminded me, as if this justified their request. "This baby is innocent in all this. It is still your family, your blood." The manipulation was transparent, yet delivered with such earnestness that for a moment I questioned my own reaction. Was I wrong to feel disgusted by their proposal? The true motives emerged as the conversation continued. Diego had been offered a position as a travel photographer for a adventure magazine. His dream job that would keep him on the road most of the year. Sophia's design opportunity would establish her career internationally. Neither wanted to sacrifice these advancements for parenthood, yet both expressed desire to remain part of the child's life through occasional visits and video calls. More shocking was my mother's financial incentive. "I am prepared to sign over the lake house to you," she offered, referring to the vacation property my grandparents had left her. "It could be a college fund for the baby, or retirement security for you. All legally documented, of course." The property, worth over $300,000, was being dangled as payment for taking on their responsibilities. I sat in stunned silence, trying to process this proposal that somehow managed to be both insulting and tempting. The child was innocent, as they repeatedly emphasized. My own childhood without a father made me sensitive to the impact of parental abandonment. For a brief, conflicted moment, I considered what accepting might mean. Having the child I had always wanted, albeit under circumstances I never could have imagined. "I need time to think," I finally responded, buying space to consult my therapist before making any decision. Their relieved expressions revealed they had anticipated outright rejection, interpreting my non-refusal as potential acceptance. "Doctor, Alan's reaction during our emergency session the following day was uncharacteristically direct. "This proposal is continuing the pattern of exploitation," he stated firmly. "They are not considering your healing process or the psychological implications of raising a child born from this betrayal. They are looking for a convenient solution that allows them to escape consequences while appearing noble." His assessment prompted me to investigate further. Conversations with mutual friends revealed Diego had a history of abandoning responsibilities. Previous relationships ended when commitment was required. Jobs left when advancement demanded additional effort. More disturbingly, I discovered this was not the first time my mother had enabled his escape from consequences, having paid off a previous girlfriend to handle an unplanned pregnancy discreetly years earlier. The most revealing discovery came from Sophia's coworker Jasmine, who contacted me after hearing about the situation. According to her, Sophia and Diego planned to continue their relationship while traveling for their respective careers, essentially creating a situation where they could enjoy parenthood's perceived benefits without its daily demands. I would serve as an unpaid caretaker while they pursued their ambitions in relationship, possibly returning to claim the child if their circumstances changed. Armed with this information and newfound clarity, I requested another meeting with all three of them. This time I chose the location, a neutral coffee shop where I would feel less emotionally manipulated than in my childhood home. They arrived with expectant expressions, clearly anticipating my agreement to their proposal. "I have given your suggestion considerable thought. I began calmly the weeks of therapy, helping me maintain composure, and I need to be completely honest about where I stand." Their hopeful expressions encouraged me to continue. "What you are asking is not just unreasonable, it is cruel. You want me to clean up the mess created by your betrayal while you pursue your dreams unencumbered." Diego attempted to interrupt with practiced lines about the baby's welfare, but I raised my hand to silence him. "This is not about the child's well-being. If it were, you would be arranging your lives to provide stability, not looking for someone to outsource your responsibilities to." For the first time since discovering their betrayal, I felt fully in control of the narrative. Sophia's tears started flowing, the same manipulative display that had once weakened my resolve. "We thought you, of all people, would understand the importance of a present father figure," she whispered, reaching for my hand across the table. I withdrew it before she could make contact. "Do not use my past to manipulate me," I responded firmly. "A present father figure. You mean like the uncle whose brother betrayed him, whose wife cheated on him, and whose mother enabled the whole deception." The harsh truth silenced her immediately. My mother attempted a different approach, her voice taking on the reasonable tone she had used throughout my childhood to get her way. "People make mistakes, Guillermo. Forgiveness is part of family." The familiar phrase triggered a memory I had long suppressed. Finding her comforting Diego after he had damaged my college application materials, causing me to miss submission deadlines. Her excuse then had been identical. "People make mistakes." "This is not the first time, is it?" I asked, the realization washing over me. "This is not the first time Diego has taken something of mine. And you have defended him." Their exchanged glances confirmed my suspicion. What else has there been that I never discovered? The uncomfortable silence that followed was broken by Diego's reluctant confession. During our college years, he had initiated a relationship with my previous girlfriend, Sarah, another betrayal I had never known about. My mother had helped cover that situation as well, convincing Sarah to end things with me naturally rather than reveal the truth. This final revelation crystallized everything. The pattern had been established long before Sophia. I was expected to sacrifice while Diego took what he wanted without consequences. My mother would always facilitate his behavior while expecting me to demonstrate maturity by accepting the unacceptable. "My answer is no," I stated with finality, standing to signal the conversation's end. "I will not raise your child. I will not provide financial support beyond what the court legally mandates during divorce proceedings. And most importantly, I will not continue to participate in this dysfunctional family dynamic where my feelings and boundaries mean nothing. The shock on their faces reflected their disbelief that I would finally refuse to be their safety net. For perhaps the first time, they were facing consequences without me there to absorb the impact. As I walked away, I felt a strange mixture of grief and liberation, mourning the family I thought I had while embracing the strength to choose myself. The process of rebuilding a life after such profound betrayal does not follow a straight path. Some mornings I woke up reaching for Sophia beside me, momentarily forgetting everything that had happened. Other days, anger would surge unexpectedly when a song on the radio or a familiar restaurant would trigger memories of what I had lost. Through it all, I held firm to the boundaries I had established that day in the coffee shop. My attorney, Margaret, proved invaluable in the months that followed. With her guidance, I filed comprehensive documentation with the family court establishing Diego's paternity, protecting me from future claims for child support. The divorce was finalized with minimal financial entanglement, though the process drained a significant portion of my savings. "Consider it the cost of freedom," Margaret told me when I expressed frustration at the expense. Some people remain trapped in toxic situations forever because they cannot afford to leave. The truth about what had happened gradually spread through our extended family and social circles. I made no effort to manage the narrative, simply providing factual information when asked directly. Some relatives expressed shock and offered belated support, while others maintained that family loyalty should have compelled me to accept the situation. I allowed these relationships to evolve naturally, staying close with those who respected my experience and distancing myself from those who minimized it. A job opportunity arose that would take me to Denver, 200 miles, and a different life from everything familiar. After discussing the pros and cons with Dr. Allen, I accepted the position as regional manager for a national construction firm. The increased responsibility and fresh environment provided space to rebuild my identity beyond the guy whose brother and wife had an affair. The small apartment in Denver became a physical manifestation of my healing process. Unlike the home I had shared with Sophia, which reflected our combined tastes, this space was entirely mine. Industrial elements mixed with comfortable furniture walls displayed photography from my new hiking adventures, and the spare bedroom became a home office rather than the nursery I had once envisioned. Each design choice represented a step toward reclaiming my narrative. 6 months after relocating, I met Andrea through a community volunteer project, rebuilding homes damaged by flooding. A landscape architect and single mother to 10-year-old Lily, she understood complexity in family structures and the importance of boundaries. Our relationship developed slowly, built on honest communication about our past experiences and mutual respect for each other's independence. News of the baby's birth reached me through a former coworker. A healthy boy they had named James, born 3 weeks early but otherwise perfect. The update came with an attached photo I chose not to view, protecting the emotional progress I had made. Though I felt compassion for the innocent child entering a complicated situation, I maintained my distance, knowing involvement would reopen wounds still in the process of healing. Information filtered back through mutual connections that Diego had indeed abandoned his responsibilities shortly after James was born. The travel opportunity had proven less glamorous than anticipated, involving grueling schedules and modest pay rather than the adventurous lifestyle he had envisioned. He returned home briefly before taking a job in California, providing inconsistent financial support and making promises to visit that rarely materialized. My mother, Elaine, contacted me approximately 8 months after James was born. Her voicemail carried an unfamiliar tone, humility mixed with regret. "I was wrong, Guillermo," she admitted after initial pleasantries. "I always thought I was protecting Diego, but I was actually preventing him from growing up. Now Sophia is struggling alone, and my grandson barely knows his father. I should have supported you instead of enabling them. If you can find it in your heart to call me back, I would be grateful." The message sat in my voicemail for weeks, while I processed my feelings about this attempted reconciliation. Dr. Allen and I discussed whether engagement would be healthy or potentially re-traumatizing. Ultimately, I called her back, setting clear parameters for our conversation beforehand via text message. No pressure for reunion, no requests for assistance, and full acknowledgement of the harm done. To my surprise, she respected these boundaries during our brief call. Though reconciliation remained distant, the conversation represented a shift in our dynamic, one where my needs were finally being considered, rather than automatically subordinated to Diego's. This change, while welcome, came too late to rebuild the trust necessary for a close relationship. Through my attorney, I established limited financial support for James, a trust fund for education that neither Sophia nor Diego could access for other purposes. This arrangement allowed me to honor my own values regarding children's well-being without becoming enmeshed in their day-to-day lives. The distance provided protection while the structure ensured the child would have opportunities regardless of his parents' choices. Andrea and Lily became an unexpected source of joy and stability. Our blended family developed organically weekend hiking trips and game nights, replacing the traditional family gatherings I had lost. Lily's straightforward questions about my past, asked with the innocent curiosity of childhood, often provided clarity adults had overcomplicated. "So your brother broke the rules and your mom did not make him apologize," she summarized after hearing a simplified version of events. "That is not fair." The promotion to regional director came 2 years after moving to Denver, cementing my professional reinvention. The office celebration included colleagues who had become friends, Andrea and Lily, proudly by my side. Looking around at these people who respected my boundaries and valued my contributions, I recognized that family could be chosen rather than merely inherited, built on mutual respect rather than obligatory biology. Therapy taught me that forgiveness does not require reconciliation. I could release the consuming anger towards Sophia, Diego, and my mother without welcoming them back into my life. This distinction proved crucial to healing, acknowledging the harm done while refusing to remain defined by it. Gradually, the betrayal became a chapter in my story, rather than its defining narrative. The most profound lesson emerged from this painful journey: true family is defined by actions, not blood. The people who stand beside you during hardship, who respect your boundaries, who celebrate your joy without envy, these are your real family, regardless of genetic connection. Biology creates relatives, but loyalty and respect create family. Have you ever had to redefine what family means to you? Share your experience in the comments below. And if this story resonated with your own journey, please hit that subscribe button. Sometimes our greatest strength comes from walking away from what hurts us, even when society tells us to stay. Thank you for listening to my story. Remember, you always deserve people who choose you as consistently as you choose them.